Welcome back to the channel, Farrell Farms. I was going to tell you, we were pretty much on the combines all last week. Our inspection list is getting shorter. There's still a few just odds and ends to do. Currently this morning we're just dropping oil. We're going to service them both. Buck's working on that. I did have one shoe auger that I got pulled out. They were all new bearings last year, and it's pretty stiff. So these do come out pretty easy. I got that designed pretty well there. So yeah, we'll get that bearing off, new bearing. I do have a new bearing for that end, and but yeah, get that ripped off, a new one put on. Okay, we got those bearings put back on, and this is actually it. They come out pretty easy. You've got the plate right up front there that you can just take 2 bolts out. You take the 2 bolts out on the back of this bearing here, and this whole auger will slide out. It's pretty slick. And anyway, we're going back in. So there's 4 of these called the shoe augers, and up in here, up under here, there's grates, and inside there is the rotor. And so this is I don't know if you consider it one of the first stages of where the product, yeah, pretty much first stage where the product is threshed, falls down, it gets beat around in there, falls down into these shoe augers, and is carried back to what we call the stationary chaffer right there, and it just works its way back. But anyway, long story short, she's going back in and actually moves pretty easy now. You could not do that before. So we do have one on the other side. I think the bearing up here is okay, but this carrier bearing back here is loose. So we'll get over there and check that out after I get this buttoned up. Okay, I ended up pulling this shoe auger out, the one he said that was loose in the back, and I don't know. Didn't find a thing, so I don't think I misread that. Went back, looked. No, I read it right. But anyway, we pulled her out, double checked everything, so we are pretty good there. I was going to show you, we had some pretty hot storms roll through here last night. Rick's picking up limbs back here, but you know, really we're minimal to what Iowa. I've seen some pictures roll in from Iowa, and I mean, you know, grain bin setups destroyed, cornfields just flat. I mean, you know, no recovery at all there. But here's kind of what, you know, we just got really no damage to the buildings at all. Just a bunch of limbs, big limbs come down. Actually did hit Gene's truck here. But you know, nothing major. It can be fixed. Got a pretty good hit right there, though. But yeah, just some limbs there. A couple more around there, knocked the fence down. But yeah, so all in all, not too bad. But we do have this bean field. It's not flat, but you know, the wind didn't help it any, but I think a lot of that will stand back up. We got a field across the way about a mile over that You know, it took quite a bit of wind, and just the, you know, within just overnight and this morning, a lot of it stood back up. So not all of it will, but Rick's hard at it. So anyway, yeah, we just want to, you know, saying a prayer for all them guys out west that did have, you know, major damage. You know, we wish you guys the best. All right, time to hang flags. For anybody wondering, this is how we made ours. It's just rebar with the washer welded. That way when you stick, we just use PVC. That way if we do hit something, it'll snap. That way it sits on there and it'll just spin around with the wind. But we just mounted it to the unload chute, 2 bolts. So, works pretty good. We did the other one that way too. So, you know, pretty cheap, just stuff we had laying around. Didn't take 5 minutes to fab up, a couple minutes to bolt on, and we were good to go. All right, we're going back in with the chap and sieve on this machine here. We have this one in, but kind of the way these work, there's motors on both of these. The plug-in is in the bottom, but I can adjust these louvers to where they'll stand up, or I can close them off all the way. And how this is in the cab, what we want is these open enough to where the grain falls through, but the chaff and the trash just stays on top and flows out the back. Because when these are in the machine and I've got the machine running, these things, they shake back and forth. And so as you can see, we do have the sieve put in. This is the bottom screen. Underneath here is what we had put that graphite. We just painted it on, rolled it on. And so the chaffer laying out there sits on top of this rail. And that's kind of in theory how it works. So everything starts up front. You got the shoe augers up there that we had taken out, replaced the bearings on. Everything just kind of works its way back. Like I said, these shake. You know, all the product falls through down to that pan we slip plated, slides back forward to an auger, carries it over to the clean grain elevator, and then up to the tank it goes and fills the grain tank. So what you've heard me mention tailings, when everything comes past this, it falls down. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little gap here. It falls down below this pan. And so it all goes to tailings and kind of comes back up, and it is rerouted back to the rotor, and it will run back through the machine a second time. All right, she's in. So at this point we do have 4 bolts to put in. Tighten that up. We'll put the hook that plug back up, and we're pretty good shape. So okay, so that pretty much buttons up the combines per inspection what we were going to do. We do have John Deere scheduled to come out for the feeder house on the 13. The sprocket, chain, all that. So they're going to come do that. And also on that one, the feeder house floor is, we got to do some repairs there. But other than that, I think we about got them on the run. Alright, we're up here in the grain tank, and after inspecting this loading auger here, fountain auger, is very sharp. You can shave with it. So I think we're going to rip it out. Just called Deere. They got quite a few of these, so we're going to pick one up in the morning. So we'll get this slid out, get the bearing off. We'll go back in with a new one and a new bearing. We do have the drive dog down at the end that I already replaced. We do that every year. So we'd actually, when we had bought this, we thought all the augers were high wear. Turns out they were not. So yeah, we go back high wear. So anyway, get this ripped out and wait for the new one. Right, Buck?
Story of our life.
That's it. Well, and as you can see, since we got the auger out, we do have quite a bit of dirt. If you can see that dirt build up there. So we'll get in there, we'll get that scraped out. And should be pretty good, but I don't know if that's a high wear tube. I don't know if they make a high wear tube, but it is doubled up on the bottom. So we're still got quite a bit of thickness there. But we are razor sharp up at the top where she flips over. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something we can lay a thin piece over and kind of maybe even bolt it together. I may think about doing that. That would be pretty easy to do. Okay, so we got it out of the tank, but as you can see here at the end, see how thin that is? Right through there. What it really should look like, and we are kind of getting rounded up here, but it should be pretty thick. So, and the problem you get into, you get real thin like this, you know, it just gets weak and it could fold over. So we don't want that. So anyway, got a new one coming in the morning. We'll get it put in. It'll be good.